Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of We're Screwed. I am your host, horror author James Hershey Jr. With me, as always, my co-host, old boy James Ash. How you doing, brother?
How's everybody doing tonight?
Tonight's show is going to be interesting. I want to talk about something that's going on right now in the news. It has to do with the government shutdown, but it's not going to be a show about the shutdown. And this one I don't really want to be like ultra political, where we're like, damn Democrats, damn Republicans, that kind of crap. Because this one is a little bit too important for that, I think. And that's the fact that the EBT slash SNAP, the food stamp program, is not being funded anymore after, I think it's November 1st coming up, because the government is shut down. There's a couple different aspects to this that I want to talk about. First of all, we all know that there's a ton of fraud in that program. Okay? You have illegals that are getting food stamps in massive, massive amounts. We're talking anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 a month of benefits, of food stamp benefits. That's insane. And at the same time, you've got elderly people on fixed incomes, Social Security, disability, old vets that are disabled, stuff like that, that can get like $20, $30 a month, and that's it. Which is insane. And then you have people that shouldn't even be getting benefits at all because they're not citizens here, getting thousands and thousands of dollars. Okay, that's what everybody's been talking about, is this has kind of opened everybody's eyes to that, and they see what's going on now. Another thing I want to talk about in this show is the reaction to that people are having. And let's start it this way. Let me give you my take on it, and we'll go from there. I think that there's way too much fraud going on in the program. I think that if you are here illegally, you should not be getting any kind of food stamps, any kind of welfare at all. Okay? That's my view on it, because that is an enticement to come and stay. Okay? I also think that there's a lot of fraud going on where people are getting these food stamps and they are selling them for like half of the value in order to buy alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, get their nails done, whatever. I was watching one thing tonight, and they were talking about this lady was saying that her nail salon actually takes EBT. So you can pay for getting your nails done with your food stamp card, which is insane. Okay, so there's way too much fraud. That shouldn't be going on. Okay, but at the same time that I say that, there are people in this country who are disabled or who are on a fixed income, who are elderly, and they're trying to live off their Social Security, and there's no money there. I mean, it's ridiculous the little amount of money they give you. Okay? For those people, I think they should absolutely be able to get assistance. And they should get more than that they get now. Because some of these testimonials I've seen of people that have served this country, or they've paid into the system their entire lives, worked their entire lives, now they're retired and they're trying to scrape by on $800 a month or something. And when they go to get help, they get $20 or $30. That's insane. I mean, what the hell can $20 or $30 buy you for a month's worth of food? You know what I mean? That's not cool. These people have paid their entire lives. They deserve to be able to get the help that they need. Okay, so for people that are disabled, people who are elderly on a fixed income, people that genuinely need the assistance, I have zero problem with that. I am 100% in favor of those people getting the help that they need. I will gladly pay the taxes for that. I have absolutely no issue with it whatsoever. What I do not want is people who are here illegally getting the benefits. I do not want people who are gaming the system, who are able-bodied and there's no reason they can't be working. They're not doing anything other than just staying home and collecting checks. That's not cool. Because I'll tell you why that's not cool, okay? The government doesn't have any money. Okay, I'm not just talking about the fact that we're $38 trillion in debt. That's not even what I'm talking about here. I mean, the government literally doesn't have a single penny that it doesn't take from us. Okay, so what you're doing when you're collecting these benefits is you are taking at gunpoint, somebody else's labor. Somebody else had to go and work to make that money. Okay, the government comes in at gunpoint and takes it from you. And that is a little bit hyperbolic, I'll grant you. But what happens if you don't pay your taxes? Guys with guns come and they arrest your ass and put you in jail. Okay, so it's forced. It's not voluntary. You have to pay your taxes or you go to jail. So the government is forcing you to go to work to pay for somebody else who doesn't want to go to work. That's not cool. That's not America. You know what I mean? I have a big problem with that. I don't mind paying the money for the people that actually need it. Okay, the people that are disabled, the people that are elderly, the people that, through no fault of their own, can't go and work and make money. I have zero issue with that. The problem I have is with the people who are gaming the system, okay? The other problem I have is the reaction that I've been seeing online to this. Now, you got a lot of people online saying some outlandish shit. You know, they're calling the people that are on the food stamp program scumbags. They're calling them freeloaders. They're calling them losers. They're saying they don't want a single penny to go out to anybody for food stamps, let them starve, that they're not useful to society anyway. Stuff like that is being said, okay? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That's not cool, because you have to realize that some of these people, they don't have a choice. It's not like they want to be on food stamps, man. Being on food stamps, I'm sure, is humiliating. Why would you want to intentionally do that? A lot of these people are probably ashamed that they're on food stamps, but they just can't afford to eat. And I don't want to live in a country where we turn our backs on somebody who is in need, who is genuinely in need. And I think it's heartless and it's callous to sit there and say things like that. You know, I understand you don't want illegals getting the food stamps because they're getting thousands and thousands of dollars, which is insane. I get that. I also understand that the people who show up in a $50,000, $60,000 Escalade or something and get 4 carts worth of groceries, you know, while they have like a $1,000 purse or whatever, I understand that too. Believe me, those things piss me off too, and I don't want them to be able to take place. But to make a blanket statement like you don't want anybody to be able to receive food stamps, that you don't want to pay your taxes for that, and that these people can just starve, and making fun of people who are overweight and stuff like that, saying, oh, it'll take years for that person to starve, that's fucked up, man. There's no call for that. We shouldn't act like that, you know? So what I would say to everybody is understand and realize that there are some people who genuinely rely on this program in order to feed their families. And it's not like they don't want to work. Some of them can't. And that's also leaving out a ton of people, probably over half of the people on food stamps or more, that do work. They're out there working jobs. They just can't afford to pay the bills and to feed their family. That's a lot of these people too, who are out there trying, you know? And unfortunately, you get yourself in a situation where it's a loop that you're running around. To where you're on the program, you're getting the food stamps, you don't want to be getting the food stamps, you feel ashamed, but you can't do anything to better your situation because you're working. You're doing the best you can. You're barely scraping by with the tiny little bit of food stamps they're giving you. You're buying off-brand and you're buying, you know, not the healthiest foods because you can't afford them. So you're eating garbage just trying to survive off ramen and spaghetti and stuff like that. And then if you do go out there and make a little bit more money, after the government takes their piece of that little bit more money, it doesn't really equate to much more in your pocket really at all, but you take a huge hit off your food stamps. So then you have even less to feed your family with. You know, that's another thing people don't understand is there are monetary requirements of if you make past a certain amount, it cuts you way down to almost nothing. And the amount that you have to make in order to get cut down to almost nothing is not the amount that you need to survive and to do well. So people end up in this never-ending loop to where they want to do better for themselves, but if they pick up extra hours or they get a second job, they end up worse off than they were in the first place. Because the money that they make after taxes is not enough to replace the benefit that they lose in the food stamps. And I know that sounds like a callous thing because people shouldn't be taking handouts, is what you're going to tell me. And I understand that point of view. But think about this. If you got some kids, and if that program is the only thing putting food on the table for those children, what are you going to do? I mean, I guarantee you there's not one of us out there that wouldn't be too proud to beg if we had to beg to feed our children. You know? So all I'm saying is try to think about it a little bit before you say horrible things to people, because some of these people, they're good people. They just need some help, you know? And in the case of somebody who's elderly and is living off Social Security, I mean, that's not a lot of money. And if they didn't save and they didn't have the best life and they didn't save a ton of money, that's the future for a lot of people out here in this country. There's a lot of people right now in their 30s and 40s and 50s that don't even have $5,000 in the bank. Understand that. You might be one of those people. That, yeah, you go to work every day, you work your butt off, you're proud of what you do, you pay your own way, you don't take money from anybody, but you don't really have much in savings. What do you think's going to happen when you retire? When you get to the age where you stop working? Not all of us can work to the day we drop dead. Some of you are going to have to retire because you're going to get sick. You're going to get old to where you're going to have disabilities. You're not going to be able to do things. So then what happens? You're living off Social Security. So then you're living off $400 a month, $500 a month, $600 a month, $800 a month, $1,000 a month. If you're lucky, maybe you get $1,200 a month or something. That's not a lot of money. When you consider the fact that just paying rent and utilities and stuff, you're around $1,000 a month in most places in this country. A lot of places way more than that. So then all of a sudden you don't have any food. Now, does that mean you're a freeloader? Does that mean you're a piece of crap? Does that mean you're a garbage human being that doesn't deserve to eat? It's just the way things happen sometimes, guys. So I have no issue with helping people that need help through the food stamp program. I'm all for it. I'm 100% for the program. I don't think it should be destroyed. I think it needs to be fixed. First things first, we need to get all of the illegals off of food stamps, off of all of that. They shouldn't be getting any form of government assistance at all. Okay, you do that, and that's already billions of dollars that you're saving a year. Okay, then you make sure that you have documentation. So if you're somebody that's disabled or you're living on a fixed income, you can prove that. And then you're all right. You know what I mean? You can get your food stamps. Ain't no issues. But for the people that are only getting the food stamps because they're gaming the system and they actually have money, they're committing fraud, those people need to be prosecuted. And they should pay that money back. I think that the food stamp program is not something that we should just throw away. And a lot of people are saying that. A lot of people are saying that they want to throw away the program. And I don't think that's the right choice. Because there's a lot of Americans that rely on that need it. And I've heard people say, well, if we get rid of the food stamp program, it'll go back to, soup kitchens and churches and all that kind of stuff giving out the food. Yeah, you'll have some of that. In some places, you will. But what will happen is they'll go to that food bank and there won't be much food there. And the food that is donated will be expired. It'll be stuff that's past its sell-by date. And it will be stuff that isn't really all that great. So you'll have like a bunch of mix and match crap that you're going to have to try to make a meal out of. And I understand you're not supposed to be living in luxury when you're on the program. I get that. But, I mean, I don't have an issue with helping the people that need it. That's my point. And I think if that's one of the things that our tax dollars goes towards, to helping people that actually need it to eat, I think that's a good thing. I mean, if you got to pay for it, if you got to find that money somewhere else in the budget to justify it to yourself, how about we start cutting some of this foreign aid? Why the hell are we sending billions and billions and billions of dollars to countries all over the world that hate us? That makes zero sense to me. Screw those countries, man. Let them fend for themselves. Let's feed the people here that need it. So that's what I wanted to say about it. The main issue that I have that I'm upset about really is the way people are talking about it online. You know, the ignorant stuff people are saying. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair to the people that rely on it. I don't think that's fair to the people that have served our country and got injured. You know, they got disabled in war. And now they're just trying to scrape by. And they're only getting, $50, $60 a month in food stamps anyway. And then for some idiot online to say that person's a garbage human being that should starve to death is just wrong. There's just no sense in it. I mean, be better. We got to be better. There's so many things that I would love to cut out of the government. I'm a small government guy. I'm not a big socialist type government person at all. I think the government should be as small as humanly possible. But one thing that I am willing to do is make sure people have food if they need it. Now, like I said, if they need it. I'm not trying to feed everybody, but the people that can't feed themselves, man, it's not Christian not to do it. It's wrong to just say let them starve, man. That's not cool. And there's plenty of money that we can cut out of the government. Plenty of money. Without cutting that kind of stuff, we could get into the shutdown if we wanted to and talk about whose fault it is and all that crap. But at this point, everybody knows what the truth is. I don't care, really. I mean, I do care, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make here is there should be some things that are not about party. There should be some things that aren't about politics. There should be some things we can all as Americans agree upon. And that's grandma over here who worked her entire damn life and raised her family and everything is now living off of $400 a month. And you're saying she should die because you don't want to pay her $45 that the government gives her in food stamps a month, which isn't even enough to feed her. That's not cool, So that's my thoughts on it. I'm going to throw over to old boy and see what he has to say, and then we'll go from there. Go ahead, brother.
So, thank you, brother. And happy Halloween Eve, guys. We're actually doing this on Halloween Eve. We'll do a show next week about Halloween. That was something about it to make up for it. Or maybe we'll even do a show this weekend. I'm off for during this weekend. I have a 3-day weekend. Maybe we can get staring and shut out too this on a Saturday or something. But I'm like I said, I'm not the biggest politic person, and this isn't really about politics. We're not going to go there. Here's the problem I have. Again, you have people online, both sides. Oh, I'm going to riot. I'm going to do this. You know what they're saying. If you do anything, they're telling you right now. They find out who you are. I'm going to give you guys warning. I don't care what you think. If they find out you do something and they have you on camera, they're going to shut your stuff altogether off. Because people are making threats. They're going to steal. They're going to do this. And it probably will happen in certain parts. But they are going to take cameras and they're going to watch you now. And just so you know, there's going to be consequences because they've been talking about it. But you got to remember, most shit on TikTok never happens unless there's, protest. And let me get this straight. One thing I'm going to say is I do know that 85% of the protesters are not bad people. It's the 15 to 10% that start shit. It's probably not even. It's like 90% of the protesters, just like in every group. There's always the 5 to 10% that always has got to ruin it. Just like in this situation, it's about 15 to 20%. Here's the problem with the illegal alien thing. You can't get mad. Yes, they came here. We all know that illegally. The problem is, for the last 3 or 4 years, they let them do it. You can't just get mad at them. They knew they weren't supposed to care. I get that, but certain administration let them all come in here, bro. And now they're either staying or leaving, but it's some of our fault because people were letting them in too. We also got to take in consideration of that. What are we going to do? We can't go out and get all 40 or 30, I think it's like 20 million or more. We'll just say that because they've already got rid of about 8 million or not get rid of. I don't want to say it like that. They already have got a couple million have, got out of here or they've left on their own. A lot of them left on their own, but they keep going after certain ones. Uh, uh, I don't understand how you guys can shut off food from people that 90% of the people are not bad. They, like he said, it's grandmothers, it's people who work, you can't work because they're hurt or injured, and you guys are calling them all these horrible names. This is the problem I have right here. You have a lot of people on both sides that really don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They might know a little bit because they heard it on this side of the news or that side of the news, and we don't have to go in. We both know how the news works. They instigate shit. And that's what they like to do. And that's what's going on in our country altogether. And all over the world, isn't just this country, is we have let the news and Hollywood and politics thrive now where it didn't really matter about 20 years ago. If you think about it, I'm going to tell you what I think, and I think this has been done for purpose. 20 years ago, they couldn't even get people to vote, really, bro. Like, and that's the truth. Like, the last 15 years, they just, because people didn't even care about politics at one time. I mean, it would just go, you voted, whatever. The problem is, people fell asleep for the last 25 years altogether, and that's why we have the issues we have. They got comfortable and didn't give a fuck. And this is the outcome of it. You had people from the 80s and 90s got very comfortable, got their kids comfortable, didn't do anything about it, and then we have all this shit that's going on all together. I'm just saying all together. And then they get in a lot of shit. They get in drugs. They get problems. You're going to get drugs when you're in a society where it's frowned upon if you don't do drugs. If you're a bad person, it's great. When you're a good person, you're a punk or sucker, and you deserve to get what you get. We're our own fault, like always. We're always going to be our own fault. When people realize we're never okay, I'm going to tell you this is what's going to happen. You may do what you're doing with illegal migration, but you got to realize if the Democrats win in 3 years, they're going to just redo it again, and we're going to just have the same problem. This is never going to end. We're just going to now if they do win in 4 years, then the Republicans are going to do the same shit for 4 years. But I will tell you this. This ain't going to last. It's going to be, they're going to reverse everything they're doing and do it all over again. And the problem is, and what it is people know this country has a lot to offer than some of the countries they come from. And it's nothing against their countries. It's just they don't have the economics we have and the jobs we have and the money we make. I get it. I'm not going to sit here and say the United States is innocent either. We've done a lot of stuff in the past, like going to people's countries and leaving our military crap all over the place, like the Middle East. We know what happened there, bro. There's proof there's more to that. There was oil was involved. We always know there was some of that's involved. We had a billionaire with Bush that Cheney I didn't even see for 4 years, but like except when he was making money off of the war, and he did have something to do with it. Come to find out, because of the Gulf War, he was the one giving the money to the military, and he got money from taking the oil there. But that's a whole nother story. The problem is, and what we have is that we have too many people. It's almost 8 billion people now, and these other countries are not making it no more, and they're going to come here one way or another. In the next 20 years or 30 years, things are going to change. We all know that. It's what it is. There's nothing we can do, but there shouldn't be people starving. I get it. There's some people who are taking advantage of the system. I get it. But I will tell you this, and I want people to understand this. If you didn't pay your taxes, like he said, they'd be coming for you. If they don't pay our taxes, it's a 90 to 120 day excuse that they got 160 days to pay it. What I don't what amazes me and what people keep forgetting is we went to war in 1700s over 2% T-tax. Why? Why the fuck are we going to pay any kind of taxes when we're not supposed to be? And it was supposed to get away in World War II, and it kept it here. And they're going to keep doing this. They're going to put another tax, and they'll just never get it off. This is what they're going to keep doing. We were never supposed to pay taxes, ever. What was the point of the Revolutionary War? Was it because of the British? Because in reality, if you go look at their country, yes, they have a lot of issues. They took guns away, and they have, stuff going on over there. But the one thing I did notice is some of those countries learn from it and are not doing bad. Where we don't learn our lesson and we never will, because you have a bunch of people who talk. Another thing, we'll talk about the Civil War thing. It may happen, it may not, but you got to realize something, and this is what people keep saying. Oh, well, every 200 to 300 years, America's going to end up falling because it's going to be 250 and at least 3 to 300 years. It never lasts longer than an empire. But the problem is now the technology is different. It isn't like it was then. The technology 300 years from there is not what it is now. It's a whole different world now, guys. It's not going to happen like that. You have to realize the United States is never going to give us up. He knows it. They're never going to hand it over to another country. We know that. You guys can believe whatever story you want. It is. If the United States is going to get taken over, you know what's going to happen. We're not going to give it to anybody. China knows that. Russia knows that. Everybody got to realize, we're going to do our testing for nuclear weapons for Russia. Because they did. No one's going to shoot those missiles off. And I'm going to tell you why. Russia's not dumb. They might threaten. As soon as a nuclear weapon gets shot, we're going to shoot ours off. There's no winning. It doesn't matter what you do. We're not going to be able to stop every weapon. No one's going to. China even knows that. They're not stupid. People got to realize these people are not stupid. China makes a lot of money off the United States, more than they do with Russia. The United States goes, China knows they're fucked. And this is the truth. And that's why I try to tell people, because I saw the nuclear thing, we're going to throw that in there too, because we're talking about politics. They're never going to do it. There's no winning outcome. We still have shit going on because what happened with the tsunamis in Japan, the leakage that they're saying it's changing the whole environment in the ocean, and it is. Look what's going on at Chernobyl. They're still, what was it, the 80s? And there's animals running around mutated. It's going to take another 150 years. And there's actually people walking around with masks and fucking dumbasses. This is why I just don't get people. We're just crazy. It's like a horror movie. Hey, do you hear that knock, guys? You want to go see? Let's go see. And they have a flashlight with a stick or something. And there's 3 or 4 of them. I'm getting the fuck out of there. If Michael Myers is running around or Jason Voorhees, and I know he's there, and he's killing people, you're not going to win. I'm not going to go, well, hey, James, there's a 6'8" guy running around with a machete who has a hockey mask on, and he's been killed 100 times. He keeps coming back. There's no way of winning that. We're leaving. We're not, guys. Fuck, what's the point? To die? I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just showing you an example with all this. I do not think it's right to starve anybody. And for this to happen, I don't care both sides of it. To pass a fucking bill because you want to help somebody or help your cause, or you want to prove a point against that cause, to starve people is ridiculous. My personal opinion is they should let the people have their food for this month and give a whole 30 days and figure out what's going to happen. But people should not be screwed because of this. We know most of the people need the food. There's some people, yes, they're taking advantage of it. A few people make YouTube videos and people run with it. And I get it. There's some people who don't need to be on this, and they're driving cars. I've seen it just like he's saying. I'm going back to what we were talking about because it's all coming to the same point. This isn't going to help. If they don't do this and they shut everything down, we're going to have issues for the next couple of weeks. And it's going to cause more problem and more tension between both sides to the point where it seems to me as this is shit's being done from both sides. And I'm not just going, oh, who's fault or who. He's right. The whole point is there's no winning here. You got this is just going to go deeper, deeper, turning each other against each other, and that's what's happening. And it's going to get to the point where now people are going to do dumb, crazy shit. And it's getting to that. And you guys are going to continuously, you're not changing anything. What will happen? So in a couple weeks, they'll give them back their food stamps and stuff like that and help and aid for kids who are starving now. What are you going to do? Well, you know what? The government don't want to give you your money because they can't pass a bill that they can't get along with. And that's what it's really about. People who are not getting their paychecks in the federal government, but they want them to do their job still. So and now we're going to be behind. It's been over a month, bro. So we're going to be behind on everything state-wise and government-wise, federally wise. So we're going to a point of no return. We cannot keep doing this blackmail because I know what's going to happen. If Democrats win in 3 years, the Republicans are going to do the same shit on some kind of issue. We know what's going to happen. They're going to shut the government down. They've done it. So my opinion is we should be helping people, not starving them, because you can't pass a bill either side. And this is just both sides. I'm not picking anybody and taking anybody's side. There's people who can't do nothing about it, like he said, and they're going to suffer now. And I am a taxpayer. I don't want those people to get shut off just like he doesn't. We're not assholes, guys. We don't. You know what? He may have his opinion about migration, but he doesn't want those people hurt or injured or starving. He doesn't agree with that shit. He doesn't agree with the coyotes coming over here getting money. He knows that there's people that some of these people are coming over are not bad people. They don't have any other option, but he has his opinion why if they should come here in a legal way. But he doesn't hate these people. He doesn't like the countries that taking advantage of these people and telling them to go, knowing that they have a chance to die or get put into prostitution or human trafficking or drugs or smuggling over shit. That's wrong. I live in California and I've lived like 3 hours away, and that's what happens. And people don't understand that when you're okay. I look at it this way. I look on both sides of it. If I'm a person coming over here, I have no other option. I just gave somebody $10,000. Well, you need to get in a car with 35, 40 people in the back of a truck. And if we get over, you get over, you get caught, you lose your fucking money. That's what they're already coming over here pretty much putting their life in danger. We did. Let's be honest. In the 17, 1600s, our ancestors came here on boat, 1400s, came over here on boats, knowing there could be death, and they did. Yeah, I mean, now some of them didn't do what they were supposed to do and did the opposite and fucking made us put us back for years, and he knows it. And what we were supposed to do is not do what they did to the natives there. We were not supposed to do that. At least now they finally giving Erickson that he found America 400 or 500 years before Columbus. They're already talking about that, and they're giving, and he should, because Columbus didn't find shit. He can go fuck off, and he doesn't. He has his opinions on Columbus, but we've done shit ourselves, so we should just think about it. That most of these people who are coming over here are not bad. There is people who are, bro. Let's not get it wrong. There's people sneaking over here, have 800 fucking cases on them, and they're part of certain cartels and gangs, or they're from another country in a gang, or they're just bad people, and that does happen. And fuck, that's the truth. But how are we going to sit there and say it when we have places like Detroit that are just as bad as like some of the Chile and El Salvador and Venezuela, and we're sitting there saying anything, and we're not even doing anything to prevent that. We haven't been in Cleveland and others and certain parts of LA, just bad parts, and we don't do nothing. And I get it, yeah, there's stuff in communities, but the point is, we're not fixing anything. We're prolonging a situation that's never going to end. Unless they put like that, like in China, the big ball that they put up there with a guard everywhere. To the point is, you're going to start in China. If you try to jump on that wall or go over, you know what's going to happen. They're going to unalive you. And I don't agree with that. No, coming over here, you should not be. You should be. I get it. Go to jail, whatever, or go back, or see what they could do to come here as legally. But being unalive because you're trying to get a better life, no, I don't agree with that, and I never will. And being starved because of that, I don't agree with that. But I'm a different person. I have a belief system different than a lot of people do. Um, I would want to understand that my ancestors did come here and they were looking for a better life. We should have been doing the same. And we made certain promises with certain countries that we didn't keep. Back then, some of our ancestors were assholes. And the British, my opinion is, what was the Revolutionary War for? Because taxes were worse than we were then. It was 20 times, 1,000 times worse now. And I get it. We had to get the British out, whatever, because of guns and it was other stuff. We didn't believe in kings uh, but the point is, if I was a president, I'm not going to starve people. I'm not going to, I just wouldn't do that just to pass bills over certain things. You have to realize, Republicans, Democrats, whenever you vote, independent, if you become the president, yes, you're a Republican. I'm just showing you an example. You have to realize the other 50% of the country is not. You can't just go one party and do that. And I'm talking about all sides. I'm talking about Democrat. This is something I see. If I'm going to help my side a little bit more, then I'm going to help that side. And we're not supposed to do that because we're all fucking Americans. That's not American. That's never been American. It doesn't make. I get it. You couldn't vote some way. I get that. But when you favor another party to another, and that happens, I don't give a fuck. Everybody does it. And this is the consequences now. People are not going to be able to eat. People are not going to be able to work. It's not their fault what's going on. People who work in the government are not getting a check. Is not fair because of a fucking bill. And this is what it's coming down to. And this is always going to happen. I'm going to tell you, it's going to keep happening. I just, there's better ways to do shit. Like James wanted to help people and feed the homeless, and they didn't want to fucking do it. And he knows that there's a part of that. He did this years ago, and he was trying to do these trees and grow fruit. They didn't want to do it. They don't even want you to live off the grind. The what do they call it? Not grind. Off the what is that when you live off the grid? Off the grid. Off the grid. They don't want you to live on the grid. They want to make that illegal. Why is it illegal that I can't live out in the fucking middle of the forest? Because I can't pay taxes, that's why. That's bullshit. We went to war for this shit, and this is why I'm going to tell you. If we don't start fucking realizing what's really going on, it's going to be too late. It doesn't matter what you do. Yeah, you can go and riot, but what they'll do is they're going to start, if you notice, they're bringing out robot shit. They're testing shit right now. You're not going to be able to beat them. You're not. I don't give a fuck if you have what you have. That's what's going to happen down the line. You guys fuck off. You want to go? We're going to send our new robots. It's not going to be men no more. They're going to send robots. If you fucking don't listen, they're going to just take care of you. And that's going to happen if we don't change. That's crazy. No, it's not. Go look what was going on during all these protests with immigration. They have robots running around taking pictures of people. They have drones flying around, and they have this ball that they're making that it shoots out like pellets, like smoke pellets. They're making it, and it's bulletproof. You can't do nothing about it. It's huge. They're going to start using those in prisons so they can't be having the guards get hurt. Because, dude, I'm going to tell you, some of these prisoners, they don't care, and they do what they want. They run the jails, especially in California and Texas and all that. But if they start doing this, they're going to start using certain things so humans can't get hurt no more. That's what it's really about, or get something retaliation back. Because if you stop one of these hits, they could come after your whole family if you stop them. They warn you. So that's why a lot of people don't really mess with prisons no more. You don't see a lot of crazy shit no more, except with if the rest of the police are doing it. And that's what I was trying to say with this whole situation. I'm just throwing it in general. I'm very disappointed of how the politics have gone in the last 20 years. Because, like I said, 20 years ago, people weren't, there was register was low. We have let all this turn into this. All this shit for the last 20 years. I don't care what side or who did this. The point is, we have let it get to this point now. Everything that goes on is going to be either protesting, rioting, getting mad. If this doesn't go this way, I'm going to do that, or we're going to do this bill. This is what's going to always happen, and we're never going to get anywhere. Look at it. There's never been a party that wins more than 8 years. Either 4 to 8 years, and that's it, and then it switch off. Or even with politics, it may be 4 to 2 years with the Senate and House. It's never going to be any different unless you get a third party. And a third party will change a lot, but it's still going to end up being the same thing. Because, and the funny thing is, both Democrats and Republican at the end, oh, there can't be another party. It has to be one or the other. No, that's not what our Constitution says. We're supposed to have more that we can vote for any way we want. The problem is, the Constitution doesn't just work for one party or this party. Just like the First Amendment, you may not like certain shit being said, but it protects it. You can't be mad because somebody said something, but you can say the same thing, but it means something in a different way. No. But you also can remember the First Amendment doesn't protect you from getting punched in the mouth by somebody. They might go to jail, but that's the problem. We can't have constitutions when businesses can go and do whatever they want and get a fucking tax break. If it was one of us, we would be going to jail. And that's the problem I have with a lot of this shit, especially with what's going on with food stamps. So, like he was saying, a lot of people who are elderly, who are 50, 60 years old, and had to quit working because they got back injuries, are going to be starving now and have to go get plasma or food pantries because of this bullshit that's going on right now. This is not what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be better. I don't care what you believe in. We should be doing better. We shouldn't be like these other countries that have all this shit going on, blowing each other up over beliefs. It's never supposed to be like that. We were supposed to all believe. America was supposed to be different beliefs, all trying to get along. Different I can't say that. Different races, different ethnic groups, different religions, different sexuals. We should all be trying to get along. We were, and now it's fucked. And it's going to get worse. What's next? What's going to be next? Well, I can't get my tags paid because the government shut down. Well, you can do it online, but if something happens, you got to wait a month. You're going to get it to people just don't care anymore. And most of these people who are working, saying that people are lazy, that's bullshit, dude. Because I'm going to tell you, there's probably somebody in your family. I guarantee it. There's 44 million, 43 million people getting food stamps. Somebody in your family's getting fucked right now, and you're sitting there saying you want them to starve. Just think about that. And that should bother you. That should bother you because we're supposed to be the ones running this country, and we're not. We're giving these people all this power that can shut down everything and fuck you. And this is what's happening, and they're going to do it again because they're going to find something else to do it. This is something that's being practiced, bro, and this is going to continuously keep happening. And this is it's so we're getting because they're having this war, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not playing politics. No one's innocent. The whole point is we're not supposed to be doing this shit to people who deserve what they're supposed to be getting. They paid taxes. They earned it. And over a very 10 to 15% of people now they're getting screwed. And even those 10 to 15% of people, the government's been giving them money. It's also their fault. They know that some shit's going on and they just don't care. So they're just as much as to blame as those people are. You can't. What are we going to do? Not feed them, and then we have a whole bunch of homeless people on the street because they're not going to all go back to wherever they're coming from. Some might, but majority of them are going to end up in the street or they're doing some crime, and this is what's going to continuously keep going on. Till we get a control of what we're going to do, we're going to continuously keep going down the rabbit hole of no return. To the point is you are going to have fucking shit going on, wars, just like the Middle East and what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. Is that what's going to come down to? I mean, the world's going to get destroyed if we don't quit doing what we're doing. Don't matter if you believe there's a God coming back, you believe aliens are coming, or we're just going to destroy ourselves. We are letting governments have too much power to the point where, if you think about it, the nuclear power plant in Japan, yes, they had a leak, but we shouldn't even fucking have it. Nuclear power shouldn't even have been made, and that's my opinion. The guy who made nuclear weapons regretted it. They have too much power. They have so much power that can destroy this world. And now they can just take our money and take your money and tell you can't do it because, well, they don't want to pass this bill over this amount of money. And I get it. We're in fucking $38 trillion, $40 trillion, whatever. It's not going to get anywhere. It's not going to be forever. They're going to end up caving in or doing something. But the sad thing is you're going to have a bunch of people pissed off now. And it's going to be a domino effect. So they're going to tell their kids what they did. So in 20 years, we're going to have worse problems. The government's this. The government's to the point where America might end up having a bunch of issues. And it's starting to go that in slippery slope. And this is what I want people to understand. We don't want anybody getting hurt because they're starving or politics. None of us want this at all. I'm sick of this shit. I hope you guys watch this show and listen and quit falling for this shit that's going on. Because if we don't, 50 years from now, we're not going to matter anymore. We're all going to be living on the street. We're not going to have shit. We'll probably be gone by then. But you guys the 1% will have their houses. They're making it so impossible for you to live even if you have 3 people with you. It's not going to get any better. 20 years, it's going to be even worse. You're going to have people just going into people's houses and just to get food. They're not going to care. Is that what we're going to get to? We have to start realizing, yes, we have to do certain things, but you got to do them in not all at once because it's going to do nothing but start trouble. Starving people is ridiculous. They should get their food stamps this month. This is ridiculous. You guys you don't give a fuck. The government doesn't care what we think. But I will tell you this. Think about it, because I'm going to tell you, somebody in the government, at least a couple of them, probably have family members starving right now. While they're making their 300, 400,000 a year and they're millionaires, they're not going to starve because they probably got so much money in the fucking bank they don't have to worry about for the 100 years. But these people do. These people are working. They're not making minimum wage, what, $8 an hour in federal? Come on. This is bullshit. And I feel bad for these people, all of you people, that have been fucked because of this. And in the government jobs, you've not been working for a month. You guys haven't got a paycheck. You're going to be behind your bills. What is this really doing? This is hurting Americans in reality. It's hurting people. It's not helping. It's gone too far, but I don't run the government. But that's my opinion. I love you guys. Sorry I went on the rant, but I think that we could do better than what we're doing. There you go.
We kind of went way outside the scope of what we were talking about there with a bunch of different things. So I think it's necessary to kind of bring some factual information into the mix. First of all, it's way more than 10 or 15%. Because if you look at, there's estimated to be 20 million illegals in this country right now. That's a fair number everybody can agree on. Okay, the stats are 53% of those illegals are receiving food stamps and $3,000 to $5,000 a month. Okay, so 53% is a little over half of 20 million. That's 10 million right there. We know there's 44 million people on food stamps. So just the illegals are a quarter of that. That's already 25%. Then you've got the fraud aspect of it, people that shouldn't be getting it. That's another 10%. So you're talking already almost half of the people that are receiving the food stamps shouldn't be receiving the food stamps. Okay, that's point number one. Point number two, if we're going to look at the actual shutdown and talk about that, it's very important to understand what's actually happening. Okay, first of all, just look at the votes. It doesn't matter what this talking head says and what this talking head says. Look at the votes. Who voted to keep the government open? Who voted to close it down? Okay, there's 55 Republicans in the Senate. Okay, out of those 55, you got to have 60, because if you don't get 60, then they can filibuster and you can't pass anything. So you got to get 5 Democrats to come over and vote with the Republicans. Okay, so out of those 55 Republicans, 54 of the Republicans have voted every single time to open the government. Every single time. There's only been one Republican that hasn't, and that's Rand Paul, who, I like Rand Paul in some things, but on other things he's a dumbass. Okay? He is the only one that has voted not to reopen the government. So then you got 54 Republicans out of 55 that have voted every single time to open the government. So they're voting for these people to get their money for food stamps. They're voting for these people to get their money that are working federal jobs. They're voting for these people that are in the military to get paid. Okay? Every single time. Whereas all the Democrats, with the exception of only a few, have voted to close the government down every single time. So there's always, whenever we talk about any of this stuff, there's always the line that gets thrown out there. It's both sides. It's both sides. In this situation, it's not both sides. It is one side that is doing this. That's the honest to God truth. Now you can say, well, they're doing it because of this. They're doing it because I don't care. They're the ones that are doing it. They're the ones that are voting not to reopen the government. Okay? So that's important. Old boy said another thing when he was talking, where he said, what if it was any of us, we'd be thrown in jail. Okay, that point. That's a very good point. That's my point with illegals. They broke the law. They are criminals. They broke the law, period. I don't care if you agree with the law or not. It is a law, and they broke it by coming here. Okay? They cannot stay here. I don't give a shit if there's 20 million. I don't give a shit if there's 100 million. They can't stay here. They broke the law. They didn't do it right. They need to be rounded up, sent the hell out of here. They shouldn't get any government assistance. Right? Trump has a program where if you turn yourself in, if you're illegal, he will give you $1,000 and a plane ticket back to your country. So there's no excuse. It's not like they're saying, oh, you're just going to starve if you're illegal. No, you can come and turn yourself in, get $1,000, and go back to your own damn country, and you can buy yourself some food with that $1,000. Okay? But you can't stay here because you didn't come here the right way. If somebody wants to come here for a better life, I am sympathetic to that. I understand that. Do it the right way. Now, with that being said, we have got to reform our immigration system. It takes too damn long to come here, and it costs too much damn money to get here. That's bullshit. The reason why a lot of these people come in illegally is because it's almost impossible to get in here legally. That's got to be fixed. But when we fix it, we have to fix it the right way. Okay, we can't just say anybody can come here. It should be based on our needs as Americans. America first, right? If we need this many people to come in to work, that's how many people we should let in. And we should let people in that have the skill set that we need for the jobs that we have, that we need them for. It should be a merit-based system. It shouldn't be just anybody and their brother can come in, because that's unsustainable. It doesn't work. Okay? Shut down the border, which Trump has done. There's been multiple months now with no people coming over. Okay? Round up these people, get them out of here. One thing that'll help a great deal is if they do not get the benefits, then they're much more likely to turn themselves in, get that $1,000 and go home. And you might be pissed off that he's giving them $1,000 and sending them home if you're watching out there, but if you really think about it, that's saving us a lot of money. Because it costs a lot more than $1,000 to go find these people and send a whole team in there to arrest them and then process them and then send them home. Okay? If they turn themselves in and we give them $1,000 and a plane ticket, we come out ahead on that deal. You know? That's got to happen. And then once we get back to a baseline where all these illegals aren't here anymore, then we can see what we actually need. We can see how many jobs we actually have to fill. Because I don't buy that bullshit line, oh, they're doing jobs that Americans won't do. Bullshit. There's a lot of Americans out there that need work. Okay? And the reason why some of these Americans won't do the jobs that the illegals are doing is because they won't pay for the Americans to do the job the illegals are doing. That's bullshit too. You shouldn't be able to hire some idiot from another country that comes in here illegally to work for $2 an hour to pick your fruit or whatever. You should have to pay an American to pick your fruit and pay them a livable wage to do it. And if that cuts into your profit, so what? You got to do it the right way. The corporations and stuff are not innocent in this. They're very guilty in this because it's their desire for cheap labor that is causing this. There's a couple different things that cause this illegal immigration. Okay, the smallest part of it is people coming here for a better life. That's not the majority of these people. Okay. What the majority of this problem is one, corporations want to bring them in to do jobs at slave labor prices. Pay them next to nothing. That's a major part of it. The other part of it is, like old boy was saying, when Biden was president, he opened up the border and let all these people in because they want them to vote. That's the game. Because the Democrats want the votes. That's why. And there's many different ways that's accomplished. When you bring all these illegals in, they're counted in the census. The census determines how many people are in the House of Representatives, how that's broken up. It determines how many electoral votes your state gets in presidential elections. Okay, so you're already inflating these sanctuary states' numbers to where they're getting more representatives or getting more electoral votes in presidential elections than they should have. That's one way they cheat. The second way they cheat is they have these liberal places, and old boy can tell you this because he lives in California where this happens. California is one of the states that does this. Okay, they'll give illegals driver's licenses so that they can go and vote. It's already been proven that there's a lot of illegals that are voting in our elections. That is the game. That is why the Democrats support these people coming in. The Democrats don't give a shit about these people. They don't care whether they have a better life or they have food in their belly or nothing. They don't care about them. They're doing it because they need the votes. Because everybody that lives here, a lot of us have wised up and we don't vote for them anymore. They did it for generations with the blacks. But then guess what? The black community, they're not stupid. They figured this shit out. They said, wait a minute, you guys are screwing us. If you look at every single place where there's a ghetto, where black people are held down in poverty, what do they all have in common? They're all run by Democrats, every single one of them. You look at every state that has high crime numbers and ghettos and just shitty cities, it's all Democrats. Even if you have a Republican governor, the mayor of that city is a Democrat. And the black people said, hey, we ain't doing this no more. You guys have lied to us and lied to us and lied to us, and you take advantage of us, and nothing ever gets better. That's why the Democrats don't care about the black people anymore. Because now they got a new group of people they can bring onto their little city areas and say, hey, here's our new voters. And that's the illegals. It's awful funny. Everybody talks about how Republicans are so racist. Do you know what the longest filibuster in modern history is? It was the filibuster of the Civil Rights Bill, which every single Republican voted for. The Democrats filibustered the Civil Rights Bill, trying not to get it passed, trying not to let black people have rights in this country. It was only when they realized that they could not stop it that Lyndon Johnson said, hey, if we vote for this, we'll have them N-words voting for us for the next 50 years. That's a direct quote, but he didn't say N-words. He said the word. You can look that up. Look that up when you get done listening. They're not your friends. Okay? So in this situation, it's very important to understand who's actually voting to keep the government closed. Who's actually voting to make sure that these people do not get their food. It's not the Republicans. So it's not an issue of it's both sides. It's not. Not in this situation. You know, have we had these situations before when Democrats were in power and Republicans wanted to shut down the government? Yes. Yes, you have. But not this time. This time it's the Democrats that are doing it. You know? And the reason, we got to also realize the reason why this is happening. Because the government, like I said in the beginning of this show, doesn't have any money. They have to borrow more money to keep the government running. So that requires a vote. They have to vote to open the government. What that really means is they have to vote to borrow a hell of a lot more money to keep the government open and going. Because we don't have it. We are $38 trillion in debt. So at some point, it's all going to come tumbling down if we don't do something to fix it. That's a problem. And another problem we need to get a handle on is AI. Because in very, very near future, there's not going to be that many people working anymore because AI is going to take over a lot of these jobs. You've already got robotics that are taking over a lot of the factory jobs and stuff like that. You've got the self-checkouts at like Walmart and places like that. You've got the self-checkout kiosks now going into fast food restaurants and places like that. Trust me, the next 5 to 10 years, there's not going to be a whole lot of jobs for you to do anymore. So what happens when unemployment gets to the 20%, 25%, 40% level? It will. What job can you do better than a robot or AI? What job can you do better than that? There's not many. The majority of these things are going to be done by machines. And that's going to leave a lot of people without work. So if we're having this much of an issue now with trying to figure out how to pay to keep the government open and how to keep everybody fed and all that kind of stuff, what do you think is going to happen when that comes? Because it's coming. There ain't no stopping it. What are we going to do? We're going to have to love each other. We're going to have to take care of each other. You know, we're going to have to put all this nonsense aside and look at the actual facts, man. I'm so tired of hearing people talk shit that don't know what they're talking about. I'm so tired of hearing people say, well, this one did this and this one did this. Just look at the damn votes, man. It's very simple to see. If you look at the votes, you know exactly what's taking place and who's doing what. You know, there is no ambiguity in it. It's simple. You got to do it the right way if you want to come here. I love when people come here to have a better life. That is awesome. Come in the right way. So I think once we do the largest deportation in history and get all of these people out of here, I think the very next thing we need to start working on is reforming the immigration system so that we can make it easier for people to come in here if they want to come in right. Close the border down like we have. I think we should have a period of time where we have the border completely closed where nobody comes in. And we figure out exactly what we actually need to do. Because if we have all of these jobs, like they're saying, we have millions of jobs that Americans won't do that we have to bring in illegals to do. Let's try actually giving a good wage for those jobs. And then let's see who will do them. And then at the end of all that, we still have jobs that are surplus and everybody's working that wants to work and you still need people, then say, okay, we're going to need 100,000 people here. We're going to need this many people here. This is the total number of people we need. We need this age range so that they can do this job, this skill set, and then do it that way and let those people in. You can let them come in as temporary workers if you want, and don't give them actual citizenship. Just have them come in and fill those jobs in some sort of visa program like they have, or you can do citizenship if you want. As long as they come in legally, I got nothing against it. But what we need to realize and cut through all the political bullshit and realize that every single one of these people that are here illegally broke the law when they came here. And as old boy said earlier, if it was any one of us that broke the law, our ass would be sitting in jail. It doesn't matter. You could say, well, they only did it because they wanted to have a better life for their family. Okay, well, maybe I only robbed that bank because I want to have a better life for my family. Does that mean I shouldn't go to prison for it? No, I did the crime. So I got to pay the price. These people broke the law. And I'm not even saying don't ever let them come back. I'm saying deport their ass, and then if they want to get in line to come back in, they can get in line to come back in. But do it right. Because here's the problem. When you come in legally, we know who the hell you are. We can run background checks on you. We know what's going on. When they come in illegally, we have no idea who's here. We got all kinds of gangs from Venezuela and Mexico and all kinds of South American countries that come in here and they're raising hell in our country. We got people that were released from prisons. We got murderers. We got rapists. We got pedophiles. We got all these kind of people coming in. And that's not a talking point. They've been arrested for those crimes in our country, doing it to our citizens. Those kind of people we can't let in here. And the problem is, if they come in illegally, we don't know who the hell they are. We don't know what kind of people are coming in. And then you have people coming in that are terrorists from all kinds of Middle Eastern countries that are in like Hamas and Al-Qaeda and all that kind of stuff. You got those idiots coming in here. And we have no idea. Do you realize that over 100 people were caught in our country that had come in illegally that are on the terror watch list, that are known terrorists? Who knows how many sleeper cells we got set up in our cities? Because they left the border wide open and let these people in and nobody knows who the hell they are. You can't do that. That's not safe. It's not fair to the Americans. Why should some American father who did everything right his whole life have to bury his child? Because you let some piece of garbage in here from another country that killed him. That shouldn't have even been here. It ain't cool, man. I don't want anybody to starve to death or anything like that. But you got to go. Come on, turn yourself in. We'll give you a meal. We'll give you a check. We'll send your ass packing. You can go back to your own country and make it better. Hell, if they used any of the money and the effort that they took to get here in their own countries to try to fix them, maybe they wouldn't be such shitholes. And they wouldn't have to come here. And that's not a politically correct thing to say. It's a terrible thing to say, people will tell me. But it's true. You tell me which one of these countries that they're coming here illegal from is a nice place to live. None of them. There's reasons why they're leaving and coming here. It's because their own country is corrupt and crappy. Fix it. That's what we do here. We got to fix our stuff. We can't just go run away to somewhere else. Fix your own country. I just think it's bullshit to sit there and say that because their country sucks that we're supposed to just let them in and give them all this shit. It's not right. And it's not right to the people that paid tens of thousands of dollars and did it the right way and took years to get in here legally and did everything right. And then we just let people in. That's ridiculous. So we gotta get rid of them, man. That's just the bottom line. They broke the law, and they gotta go. You know, as far as the not keeping the government open, we got to do something to fix the debt. We shell out way too much money every month. You know, one of the things we need to do is cut off the foreign aid, like I've said before. There's no reason we should be sending billions of our taxpayer dollars to other countries. Start with the countries that hate us. Stop giving them money. That'll save a lot of money. I think you shouldn't give any other country in the world money. If there's a disaster that happens, you know, a tornado, tsunami, whatever, and it messes up a bunch of stuff, if we want to do some humanitarian aid and help them out a little bit, that's fine. But like an ongoing, we give billions of dollars every year to these countries, why? Why? They don't give us any damn money. They steal from us. You should not give a single American dollar to any other country as long as you have Americans in this country sleeping on the streets. That money should stay here and help our people first. Republican or Democrat. If you need help in this country, you need a damn hand up. That's what that money should be used for, is to help. It should be put into job training programs in the inner cities so that those people have a chance. Because that's the thing nobody wants to talk about too. Is they're stuck in these public schools that are garbage. Where the teachers don't give a damn and they got to walk through metal detectors just to get to class. Those kids ain't got a chance, man. They're not getting a good education. So how about you take that money that we're sending over to countries that chant death to America in the streets, and you set up job training programs. You set up charter schools and stuff like that in those areas where those kids can get an education and they can get job training and learn how to have a trade and have an actual chance at life. That's a much better way to spend that money, in my opinion. How about instead of building one more giant plane or one more nuclear missile that costs billions of dollars, we take that money and we build some housing to put some of these homeless people in? Don't you think that'd be a better use of that money? I'm not saying don't spend it on defense. We need a good, strong defense, but we spend more than every other country in the world by a lot. You could trim that a little bit and be fine, and they wouldn't even notice. And that money could do a lot to help a lot of people. Instead of studying gay shrimp running on a treadmill, which is an actual study that we put millions of dollars into for some dumb reason, instead of doing stupid shit like that, how about you take that money and you actually feed people and help people with it? There's no reason everybody in this country can't have a chance. There's no reason everybody in this country can't have a better life. It's all about priorities. It's all about how you spend that money. And right now, that money is being spent on stupid stuff. And I'll tell you why it's being spent like that. It's not because they actually want to know why gay shrimp run on treadmills. It's because somebody who gave money to a campaign is running that study. And paying for that study is a way to funnel $100 million to them for giving a good contribution to this guy. That's the way it works. It's all money laundering, dude. It's all skimming. It's all cheating. They're just stealing from us. And it's not a Democrat thing and it's not a Republican thing. That is one of those things that is both of them. They are robbing us blind. It's ridiculous. Old boy mentioned my food forest thing I wanted to do. I wanted to set up a food forest in my county with a bunch of fruit trees and garden plots and stuff that anybody could just come and pick off of. Because if you plant a fruit tree, once it gets to the part where it's actually putting out fruit, that thing can last for decades. And it would be free food just right there. I mean, we're already putting trees in those areas anyway. Trees that are ornamental that do nothing, that people have to go and trim and all that kind of stuff all the time. So my idea was, instead of that, why don't we put fruit trees in there? That way, when they grow, then you got apples and you got pears and you got stuff like that people can just, anybody that needs it can come get it and have it for free. It's a renewable resource that constantly puts out every year free food. I was even going to pay for it. It wasn't like I was asking them to pay for it, but I wasn't allowed to do it because here's the reason I was given. Somebody will have to go and clean up that fruit when it falls. And I said, well, the people that are hungry will go and get the food. You won't have to be cleaning up too much. And don't you already have people that go every so often and trim those anyway? So you're already paying people to take care of the ornamental trees that do nothing. Why not pay those same people to pick up the fruit that nobody gets? What's wrong with that? And then you take all that fruit and you can take it down and donate it to farmers who need to feed their pigs and stuff. Nothing's going to go to waste. It's going to be a plus all around, but there was no way for them to make money off of it, I think. So they just told me to pound sand, basically. But there's no reason in this country that everybody can't be doing well. We're not all going to be millionaires and billionaires, but there's no reason why any of us have to go to bed hungry. We just got to stop all this fraud and all this bullshit, and stop with the blue no matter who and red till I'm dead bullshit. Stop this allegiance to party. We got to start doing the right thing. And we got to start holding the people who aren't doing the right thing accountable. And that means if, like in this situation with the shutdown, we know who voted which way. So if you're pissed off about all of this stuff and the fact that the government is shut down and people are going to be starving and all that, if you're mad about that, be mad at the people who are doing it. Don't blame the president. He has nothing to do with it. Actually look and see who voted which way. It's that simple. If we start holding the people accountable that are doing the bad things, and not just voting for them because they have a D in front of their name or an R in front of their name, things will change. Because if they want to get elected, they're going to have to do what we want them to do. The reason they don't now is because we vote for them anyway. They promise everything to us, and then we vote for them, and they don't do any of it. One thing you can say about President Trump, whether you like him or you hate him, he does what the hell he says he's going to do. He makes promises, and he keeps promises. Now, you might not like the things he's doing, but you can't argue with me the fact that he promised he'd do them, and now he's doing them. We got to have that standard for our politicians. So when they promise you they're going to do something, if they don't keep their promise, or they do the opposite, or they do something you don't like, you need to hold them accountable for it and not vote for them again. You start voting these idiots out and putting in people that are going to do what the hell you want them to do, I guarantee you things will start to change. But as long as we keep saying, well, we're going to vote this way anyway, nothing's ever going to change. Too many elections have been the lesser of two evils, man, for me in my life. I started voting back when Clinton was running against Bush. And I actually worked on the Ross Perot campaign, and I voted for Perot. Because I didn't like Bush. And I didn't like Clinton. And I voted for Perot. Now, people like me that voted for Perot is the reason why Bill Clinton won. Because had Perot not been in the race, I would have held my nose and voted for Bush. Because he was the lesser of two evils. When Romney came in, I voted for Romney. Even though I didn't like Romney. Lesser of two evils. McCain, same thing. So, I mean, I'm guilty of it too. Is you look at each election and you say, well, this is the least sucky person, so I guess I'll vote for them even though I don't like them. We have to start demanding better, and we can do that in the primary process. You know, have people running in the primaries that are good and actually vote for those people. Pay attention, and things will change. Old boy said it earlier, we fell asleep. And that's 100% true. A lot of America stopped paying attention. And they just said, well, nothing we can do. That's bullshit, man. You vote for people who you believe in the primary. Stop voting for these idiots that you know are not going to do what you want. Because they've been there for decades and they're still not doing what you want. Primary their ass. Get somebody in there to run that's actually going to keep their promises and do right for us. We can do that. We have the power in this country. But you got to pay attention. Problem is, too many people don't pay attention. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. And they just keep voting for these same people, and these same people keep screwing us over. Okay? Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to throw it back over to old boy, let him give his final shout-outs and everything, and then we'll wrap up.
And thank you guys. And just so everybody knows, the reason I get it, I'm not the biggest politician person, so I'm just throwing examples. It wasn't I was trying to jump over, then I brought it into there, and that's what we do. It's because we have to talk about this for an hour. I have a difference of opinion, but hey, that's all that matters is me and him at the end of the day, we're still friends. That's what should be. And that's how it used to be. It used to be you didn't even talk about who you voted for. You just said it and you did it. My parents wouldn't even tell me. It's not my grandparents. I can't tell you. That's my business. That's what was told to me. Problem is, it doesn't go that way. No more. Everybody, if you vote, some people just don't tell you because they don't want to get attacked. But and I get it. But just so you know that. And I haven't done Worse Screwed for a while, so it was a cool subject because I got to say what I feel. And I think we just can do better all together, and he's right. And we can fix homeless. There's all that thing they sell, where they have the boats with the metal containers. They just sit there in the yard rotting away. They can make houses for everyone. We don't have to have anybody starving and not having any kind of housing in this country, and it's bullshit. And he's right. They won't let you do it because they want people to continuously be like this. That's what the truth is. There's too much money to make us be broke. And just keep us fighting. There's no money in it for the 1% if that has stopped. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the show on Spotify. You can see us on YouTube. Follow James Hershey Jr. on the YouTube page and hit it. I talk a lot about it on TikTok, Staring the Abyss. You can watch that on there and YouTube. I hope you guys like the show. And that being said, have a happy Halloween, Misfits, Sugar Ladies, Monster Lovers, Demon Hunters. I fucking love you and have a good night.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you learned something from it. There's no reason why we have to settle in this country. We just got to get back on the horse and not let these people take advantage of us anymore. And we got to realize that together we're unstoppable. We might not agree on everything, but we got to stop targeting each other and hating each other and fighting with each other. Yes, absolutely stand up for what you believe in and say what you want to say. That's great. But at the end of the day, man, do it the right way through politics. Get the people in that believe what you believe and vote for them. But know what you're voting for. And unfortunately, too many people today don't. But anyway, love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Let us know down in the comment section what you think. As always, up to you to make up your own mind, and we'll catch you on the next one. Till we speak to you again. Love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.